chapter. Yes, good. So, today we are going to actually look into some very exciting concepts. First of all, we are going to look at the DZI flute, the ancient Chinese DZI flute. It's not D-I-Z-Z-Y, DZI. It is D-Z-I, DZI. So let's look at what this fellow is all about. Correct? This is the DZI flute. It's made out of rosewood normally, and it comes in two sections. And you have to be extremely careful how this goes in here. Because if you screw that up, you spoil it forever.
That
Correct?
reminds me of the concert flute.
Sorry?
It reminds me of the concert flute. That's how I put the pieces together.
Have you managed to put all the pieces together in your life of music?
No.
So then you elevate it and look at it accordingly. However, there are a couple of things which is to be done with the DZI flute. We play from here. So the divider is here. This is the steel chamber in which it hits in the middle. And this is a parchment, a special parchment paper which you see here. There's a hole here. And the hole is covered by this special parchment rice paper lined with rice starch. And every time you play, you have to bring a new one, smear it and put it accordingly. It gives a distinctive flavor of what comes out. This is a custom made one. So this has typically a poem which is unique to this flute. They believe that each of the flutes has their own unique identity, and therefore one poem for each. It's a beautiful poem on Yangtze River, and I'm going to play that for you once I explain a little bit more. So let's see how we play it. We play it this way. So you'll wonder, what is all this thing all about? Why is it so much? Why is it not like our normal concert flute or our, it is like this. So there's a history to it. 12th century, 13th century, monks, Chinese monks used to be hounded by the rulers, tracked down and killed, and always attacked,
Yeah.
and sometimes brutally. So what the monks did was that they used this part and used to be filled with lead and this ferrule. So it became an instrument to defend themselves.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you put lead inside the instrument and you're blowing into it and potentially inhaling it, isn't that poisonous?
Good question, but here's the divider.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
and it's
I didn't
and it's
know.
molten lead. It's not lead like your lead poisoning and you're licking it every time.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It's over here, but it becomes very thick. And if you hit, and they knew all the pressure points and everything. I mean, acupressure, where did they come from? Acupressure or acupuncture came from China. And they knew exactly those points where they would hit the people. Boom, gone. Pew. Just a Todd. Hello, come here. Hi. You want to kill me? Yeah, come. I just want to see. Mom, next, please. Correct? So then you have how it sounds. Let's see how it sounds. You'll say, "Oh my God, is something wrong? Can you clean your flute and come, please?" Something
Yeah,
is,
it has
but
a buzzing sound to it.
yeah, but that this is a characteristic of the dizzy flute,
Yeah.
and it goes very well with their music and things like that. Pardon me, I'll keep having coffee. Keep going. You had a question.
I think I've heard this instrument before. I didn't know it was this instrument, but I think in like movies, I don't know if you've seen Mulan. It's like
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
princess
yeah, yeah.
movie.
There is a
Yeah,
stretch. Yeah, there
yeah,
is a
and I
stretch.
kind of recognize that sound from the soundtrack
Yeah,
of that
yeah. There
movie.
is, there is, and there are many other films which use.
Yeah.
Sorry, give me a second. I'll be with you. Yes. So now the song. It's a Yangtze song. It's about a Yangtze River is a very volatile river. It floods,
Okay.
comes down, floods, and Yangtze River brings misery and brings happiness because it's very, very alluvial, very fertile. So therefore, people will start living closer and closer to the banks, and then boom, they're all gone. So here's a person, a boatman, is song saying that everything is lost. My homes are swept by the river. My people whom I loved are gone. I'm all alone. All I have is your boat and the river. Oh, river, take me to the seas, to the end, so that I can also go and with everybody else's and be with them. This is how melody builds. Right? Do you have any questions on this fellow? So I'm going to put him.
I had one last question.
Yeah.
So, is the reason why you hear a buzzing sound because of the rice paper?
It's a combination. It's a combination of the steel,
Mm-hmm.
which is riveting sharply as against your concert flute, as like your concert flute, because your concert flute has got silver element also in that,
Yeah.
and this one, and the hole. There's a hole here. Can you see the hole?
The hole that is covered by the rice paper.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it.
So it's basically the sound is exiting from there, and therefore it's giving you that buzzing sound.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Correct? Okay?
So where did you get this flute from?
Oh, this Chinese flute, I got it from Hungary.
Oh.
No, I'm just joking.
Oh.
It's a Chinese flute maker
Yeah.
who specifically made some DZ flutes for me
Mm-hmm.
from Zhejiang province. But I'm not a DZ player by no means. There's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful players. They play beautifully. I just use it to appease myself and to when I'm away from my bamboo flutes.
Okay, that makes
And
sense.
but this is custom made for myself. I've asked him to do some changes here. I've asked him to do some different work here and things like that. The blowhole I've asked him to change a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can play it my bansuri style.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I'm basically used to this. So I've asked him to do some changes.
Okay.
Good? All good?
Mhm. Yes.
Excellent. We now move over to the scary, scary, scary part. Scary, scary. Of the Aztecs. So the ancient Aztecs, I mean, they're like 12th century AD, Mayan, Aztecs and all, they created a lot of vessels and flutes of clay. They used to worship the sun and they used to worship the soil. And it's called the death vessels. So why the death? They used to have a goddess of death, sunset god. And they used to believe that the sun every day dies and next day he's reborn again.
Mm-hmm.
And but during his death he is zealously guarded over by the XOLOTI. They have a legendary dog. Aztec paintings, Mayan paintings, you will see a lot of them. And animal skins, seashells, materials and all that, they're very good at that. So it was used to basically help guide the sun god on to the journey and guard him to the death so that he can return back to his duties in the morning. And XOLOTI, the dogs were very sacred in Mayan society and everywhere. And dogs were very well taken care of. If somebody were found to ill-treat dogs or things like that, he would be in for capital punishment. He won't have any bail hearing or anything like that. He won't go to the New York High Court or Canadian High Court commissioner and for appeal and mercy, parole, no. They had their own ways. So, also, they believed that this god of death, and the spirits on the other side when the person is dead would go through the streets with all the procession, and there would be people who were playing their death whistles, communicating to the god of the next life, saying something like, "Hello, one of our people is coming, and he's passing through this life and going to you. Please acknowledge. Can you hear us?" So then there'll be a lot of other rituals also in which there is nobles would pierce their tongue, there would be blood letting and human sacrifices and a lot of things, offerings to their gods and all that. So it's like coming back to, it was something like they were trying to communicate to them. It's like today you'll go and say, "Oh, let me call the other person on the other side. Tring, tring, tring. Hello, dear. Hi. This is Deep on this side. Okay, how is everything? All good? That side? Okay. Listen, I'm sending some guy across. Okay, can you hear me? I'm sending a guy across. His journey is finished here, so he's gonna go there, and just make arrangements. Okay, so he's staying all right on his bed and everything. He loves, fruits and vegetables. He's a nice guy, but just okay. Bye." So something like this they were trying to do when they did the whistles. So let's first take the first guy. This is a replica of clay. It's a death whistle, one of the death whistles. And it's basically got a lot of, it's a replica. The original costs a lot of money and is sitting in a museum. and original vintage. And there are some people who deal with it,
Yeah.
but many of them are illegal. So if you're caught with that, it could be a problem. They could send you to the next world. In our own here context, correct? So let's see how this fellow. This is custom made again. I've done some contours and I've asked the guy to do some different shapes inside, the tongue inside, tongue in tongue, and blah blah blah. So anyway. So these I'm using for sound effects and all that stuff, and scary thing is like a weird.
Sounds
You want to
very
say
scary.
something?
Sounds very scary.
Who, me? She's got cries and all that stuff.
Yeah. What is the original flute made out of?
Oh, it's clay also, but very old clay.
Okay.
So it's vintage, like they found remains of them in some archaeological places, and I could give you a lot of other people who are doing research, and you know, the Mayan Aztec influence. Engineer Roberto Cabrera was one of them in 90s. Then there is a lot of Mayan people near, Campeche, Yucatan provinces was present day Western Honduras, Belize, northern El Salvador, all these places where these people were, the Mexican states of Chiapas, and that's where they used to live, Aztecs, Mayans, and nobody really knows. There's always a mystery of how they suddenly disappeared. So anyway, so these also used to be used by warriors. You'll have 10 or 15 swooping down the trees, 2, 3, 4 people in the trees. The enemy will wonder, oh my God, already you've got a psychological defeat in their faces. So it's very easy to overcome the enemies. Imagine like 15 people do all these crazy whistles coming down from the sky, from the tree, jumping down. Oh my God, what happened? Run, run. And in the forest, it will look more creepy. Good. Let's come to another one, which is a typical whistle. This is also clay, but it's played in a little different way. So imagine if you, well trained, you, me, and your sister all are playing these in different languages or recorded all together. It'll really be a height of scariness. Correct?
Yes.
Your mother will probably be scared and say, "Oh, Suche, what is this going on? Oh my God, everybody's okay." Then you come to this beautiful thing, which I've actually done a little bit changes. Here are two apertures. One is the sharper one is the thicker one, and I made two. This is a bulbous head with a slight aperture, and this is like a cannon head is closed. It's not like the bansuri, which is open on both the sides. This has got kind of closed. So let's try first two different notes, and then let's try see how it looks mixed.
Okay.
Sharp, okay? Thicker one. Now, mix of both. Let me do a 60-40 ratio to make you understand. So wind and howling and things like that. It emulates. Sometimes the wind howls through and it's gone through very hollow little small objects, then it becomes shrill, the sound.
Yeah.
That's the principle,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
Not as creepy. Correct?
Not as creepy as the one with the skull. No.
This is a rattlesnake flute, three-pronged chamber flute.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a triple combustion engine of a latest automobile.
Uh-huh.
And this is the core in which it reflects back and forth. Rattlesnake used to be associated with the god of death. So anybody fooling around with XOLOTI or the XOLOTI dogs and all would be thrown into a pit of rattlesnakes.
Wait, so all of these instruments, they're still Mayan?
Mayan and Aztecs.
Aztecs. Okay.
Mostly Aztecs were the people. They were the warriors and they were the more
Mm-hmm.
creative with making these. Mayans were more into the cultural part and they were more to stitching art and paintings and cave paintings and things like that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's see how this sounds, right? I'm sure you want to hear that.
Yes.
These are well sought after. A lot of people come for sound effects on films and all these things and all the original ones versus the digital outputs. They like the analog outputs. And they really enjoy that. How they use it in the films and all that, that's their domain, not mine. I just do it,
Yeah.
I give it to them.
I had a quick question about that. How, like, there are three holes at the top, right? So how do you control your breath and where your breath goes in which hole?
It depends. Like the first one, which we said there were two holes, correct? One was thin, one was round.
Mm-hmm.
And you were crisscrossing. Depends on how you blow. So now it's more complex. You got three. So you could either blow in one, or you could blow, or you could blow, or you could do a combination, which is gives you the reverb kind of a. And that eerie kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knows what their sounds are, but guiding by that and looking at some movies and looking at some experts and talking to them and all that, I've kind of got some kind of idea what the sounds would be, and I've tried to recreate that world. This is made to order by a wonderful person from San Salvador, and it's clay and it's baked at 440 degrees Fahrenheit continuously for that time, and it has to be very, very clearly baked.
Yeah.
so that it gives the right intensity and porosity. Correct?
Yeah.
So basically, that's what I wanted to um, talk to you and demonstrate today about, which you missed last time, yesterday. So, do you have any questions?
I think I asked all of them.
Exciting, huh? It's a
Yeah.
totally different experience of sound. No?
Actually, I do have a question. Which is your favorite flute to play of all the ones that you played today?
It's tough to say that because everyone is beautiful. Each one has got its own, characteristic of beauty and goodness. It's just like all our human beings. So if you
Yeah.
say, who is your most favorite student? Or if you say, who is the most, if you ask your mom who's got three daughters, you say, who is your most favorite? She might say, oh, my youngest one is most favorite. But then if she rationalizes and says, she will say, all of them are my favorites. It's a tough question to. Every single flute, handmade, is distinct and unique on its own. Like you, me, your sisters, your father, Veda's fiance, or whatever you call. And each one has goodness and some beauty to give to the world. Like you might probably say, I like this attribute more in a person and I like that attribute more. But you're basically mirroring yourself. What you want to see is what you see in the person,
Yeah.
not what the person is. And typically, you see your own reflection. You have certain things you have in mind and all that. You'll always see that part in the mirror when you talk to the other person's, psyche. So that's about it. I think. So if that's okay, let me close the um,
Recording.
recording. Stop recording. Thank you so much. This was Chinese DZ flute and the ancient flutes of Mayan, Aztecs, and the death whistles.